Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So, if you watched my video for the Vauxhall Astra gearbox problem, you probably have seen when I mentioned this turbo. This is just about a couple days later, so I ordered the parts for this, but not before I checked the turbo. I have a feeling that this turbo has been misdiagnosed. Nevertheless, I'm going to take you through the reasons why I think that, and I will take you through the rebuild of this turbo. I've done many of these. I only recorded this process once. This is going to be the second video, but I've done many of these in the meantime, which is, in this case, is going to be a core replacement and something else. Even though I think this turbo, and repeating myself, has been misdiagnosed. So let me take you through why I think that, and let me take you through on how you can check if your turbo is on its way out. So the way you can check if a turbo is good or not is, first of all, is look inside, and you look on the impeller side, because you obviously can't see the turbine. You look to the turbine side, you can't look to the impeller obviously. So you look over here, and I did these actually with my fingers, but here I'm going to show you with the pliers, which is the same thing. So the first thing I can see is that there is no damage on the edge of the blades. Sometimes when the turbo has too much play, it starts to touch, especially on the spool down or spool up, it starts to touch the housing, and that makes marks on the edges, which is not the case. But with your fingers, you can do this with your fingers. You check the place side to side, which, let me see if I can put the turbo in a way that it doesn't really move, so I can show you. So when you move side to side, there is a little bit of play on this, which is normal for the turbo like this to have a little bit of play side to side. This one has a little bit too much. It has definitely a little bit too much, but it is normal to have possibly a mil or so side to side. And the reason why you have this play, so that, the reason why I have this play is because the way the turbo works is, it works similar to how your crankshaft bearings work. So there's no metal on metal contact. All it is a thin film of oil between the journals and the bearings. The turbo is the same. So the oil is, obviously when you start the engine, the oil is injected inside the turbo on the shaft, and that creates a pressure of oil inside, and then the turbo spins on a layer of oil all the way around. It's called, there's a technical name for that, hydro something. Anyway, there is no metal to metal contact. All you have is the turbo basically spins on a layer of oil. So that's why you have this little bit of play. So it is normal to have this play. What is not so normal though is when you have play back and front. I'm going to try to show you. This is not so normal, okay? This is way too much. Usually should have close to nothing. This play is not normal. Back and forwards, side to side, yes. Back and forwards, no. However, because there's no marks of this turbo being touching anywhere, I think this turbo has been misdiagnosed, and there's nothing wrong with this core. Well, there is definitely play, so we're gonna replace the core regardless, even because I already bought it, and obviously it's excessive play already. But I think the reason why this turbo has been misdiagnosed is because of the following. So the car obviously was not boosting, and the reason why it's not boosting, as you can guess now, is actually because of the actuator. Before I ordered the parts, I did a quick test, and I actually did it with my mouth, but I'm not going to do that here, obviously for the video. But there is a couple checks you can do even before you actually use a vacuum pump, which is what we are going to use here. But there's a couple things you can do. One of the first things you can do is, so these actuator actually, most of the actuators, they retract. This one is actually the opposite, so this is going to extend the arm when you apply vacuum to it. And one of the things you can do is, for example, if you block this here and you pull it, when you take your finger, these actuators should be gushing for air, and there is nothing. Or if you hold it extended and you block this and you release, it should stay pretty much where it is. It should stay pretty much fully extended. Obviously it would compress the air a little bit, but would never come all the way back, and you feel nothing here. Okay, so we're going to connect my vacuum pump, and I'm going to it's this way or the other. Yeah, no, it's the other way. It's that way. Yeah, so you can see it extends a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. As you can see, I'm recording outside and I have a cardboard behind me because of the glare, and the wind just put it down. Anyway, so as you can see, you can see that it's trying to extend, but it comes back straight away. So this membrane inside is completely gone. I already have the membrane, the new actuator. What I don't have yet is the new core, which should arrive today at some point, and that's the only reason why I start this now. But what we're going to do next is we are going to strip this turbo. I'm not going to take you bit by bit, but I'll show you the main things, and yeah, I think that's it. And we can possibly even test this new actuator just to show you the difference between the old and the new, and you can actually see what you should do. So actually we'll do that even before we strip the turbo. Okay, and let me just show you quickly the difference on the new actuator. So I'm going to pump vacuum into it. And it's fully extended now, and as you can see, it holds the pressure in there. I'm going to show you the gauge. As you can see, it's now moving. Okay, and now when I release the pressure, it retracts. So this is a good actuator. That's a bad actuator. And I believe that if they replace the actuator only, the turbo would start working again. Even though the core is not in the best shape, but now that we have the turbo here, we'll replace the core as well. And the first thing I found is, as I'm removing the cooling system, okay, I found this banjo bolt like this, blocked up. Don't know if you can see it, which is not very good. It's actually bits of metal. Well, it looks to me like metal, definitely. Yeah, it is that. It is metal. Let me see if this is magnetic. No, it's not. It might not be metal. Some sort of whatever that was. It's completely blocking the cooling system. Look at that. Oh crap. So yeah, you can see completely blocking it up. So we're gonna clean this, obviously. Okay, so the impeller is removed, and I think we can have a better look now at the play. Let's see if I can focus this. So as you can see, side to side is not too bad, even though there is excessive, but back and forwards it's quite a lot. It's leaking oil quite badly, as you can also see. I think it's a good decision to replace the core as well. In the meantime, I've marked this because so there is a little cut I've done in there. I'll focus right there. There is Oh, come on. And there is another cut I made in there. I usually make two to align with the oil infeed and to align with the center of the oil outfeed. Usually the compressor side you can rotate it into any position, so that's why I mark it, even though if you leave it out for a couple mil usually it's not a problem. I always strive to leave it spot on where it was. The exhaust side, however, usually this is pinned, so you can't really get in the wrong way, because obviously this is attached to the block or to the manifold and then to the exhaust, so you don't want to leave it in the wrong position and then leave everything under pressure and the stress. But usually the exhaust side is pinned anyway, so it's not so much of a problem. Nevertheless, I always mark it as well, just in case if it's not, but usually they are. So now we are going to finish to take this off and take the exhaust side. Okay, and I really had to hammer the crap out of this one. I broke it all around. Anyway, as you can see, if it's gonna focus, come on. What's wrong with my phone today? So as you can see, it's full of oil, so it was definitely leaking this side as well. It's completely covered in oil, you can see in there. This has been like this for some time, because you can see in there that the gases were not obviously spooling, and it was getting a lot of heat on this side and not so much on the other side, so quite easy to see really. You can see the oil in there as well, so we're going to give it a clean, waiting for the new core and just rebuild everything really. Just a curiosity, the vanes are actually moving quite freely. I can however feel sort of the tension of the oil mixed with the soot, etc. So I can feel a little bit of resistance when you move it, but overall moving quite well. So after a good cleaning it should be spot on. And as I said at the beginning when I was doing so, there is the key, that little pin in there. That's why make sure you always going to put this in the right position when you put it in there, even though I marked it in there and on the other side as well. So I did a mark in there, but usually the exhaust side you don't need to worry because they are keyed, but just in case, for the sake of 10 seconds to do 2 marks. But yeah, so let's gonna get it cleaned. Be a little bit windy here, so we're gonna clean it. Oh dear me, I have my car parked up on my bench over there, so I can't really go there. But to clean this, the first thing I do is with a wire brusher, you just clean the rest around here where the new core is gonna fit. Okay, so we'll try to take the rest and the loose carbon. So I'm gonna do this until I'm happy with it. It was definitely like this for some time, because the way this is burned, it was only seeing heat in one of the positions. So this will, it's actually a seal here which I want to take off. Let's see if I can pull this seal out. Okay, if I remove this seal we can then also clean, there we go. Where the pin is, that it doesn't want to come out. So this way we can now clean under the seal as well. And now we are going to wash the vanes and the oil using, no, it's not Tesco lime scale remover. This is actually, I think is what I call paint thinner, which is in reality diluent. That's what I use. Brake cleaner is good, but evaporates very quick. This doesn't evaporate that quick and is really good to use. Okay, the weather was looking good. It's not looking so good anymore. So let's gonna spray some of this. Still mixed with the and welcome to the British weather. Clear sky, sunny in the morning, a couple of hours later raining. So I was working right there, I had put everything away, so I guess now he's waiting to see. I think I'm not going to touch it now until I get the new core, which I should get it very shortly. I guess in the next hour or so should arrive. But yeah, we'll see how we finish this. And the rain stopped for a little bit, so this is my turbo numbers in there. Focus. Okay, so I took the opportunity to obviously clean the turbo, the turbine, no, not the turbine, the compressor side. So got it all cleaned, and even though there was no marks on the vanes, it's actually easy to see that I was start to touch. So the compressor was already start to touch here. There is a little bit, it's not a lot of marks. I might just get it smoothed down with a really thin sandpaper, but it was already start to touch, as you can easily see. So after this now, I'm still waiting for the core to be delivered though. It should be here by now, but as soon as I get the core, I'm just going to put everything back on. I'm not going to take you through the put everything back on, it's just a reverse. And surely you can figure out that quite easy. I will just stop when setting the actuator. On the first video I've done for this, and only video actually, a couple of years ago, I missed that bit. Obviously you need to adjust the actuator correctly, or as correctly as possible. But I'll take you through when we do that. So we'll capture that on this video, which I definitely missed on the other video. I think I might leave in the description below the link for the first video I've done for this. First and only, as I already said. So you can have a look at it. But yeah, that's where we are. So let's wait for the bits and assembly this turbo back on. Okay, different workshop. Right, the bits came really late. By the time they arrived, I had to pick up the girl from school, blah 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 blah. The weather has not been on my side either. It's been a crappy day today. So I'm now on my on my workshop. I lay down the bits here on the floor, and I'm ready to assemble. I already cleaned that bit that I've told you about it, so it's now, you can't feel nothing. It's just a little bit, there's a little bit like sort of embedded on the metal, but it's really smooth, you can't really feel nothing. So I've just sent it a little bit down. Was a little bit of an indentation before, that's gone now. So that's ready to go, all done. So the first thing we're going to do now is, actually I will do, yeah. So the first thing we're going to do now is actually take that from the box. I want to see exactly what comes with it. I hope it comes with new seals, etc. for this housing, because the other one is not in very good shape, but it's always good to replace anyway. So let me see what comes up with it, and we'll move on. And here it is. So indeed it came with a new gasket for the housing, inlet and outlet, I think, or vice versa for the oil. And let me just show you now what I was trying, so we can see the difference. Actually let's gonna do something here so you can actually see. Oh dear me, it's gonna put them side by side, and let me show you this. So this is the play on this turbo. This is the play on this turbo. Nothing. I can feel a kind of a tick, but you can't really see the movement. On this one here, you can see, surely you can see the movement side to side. On this one, again, I can feel a tick, but you can barely see on the camera the actual movement. But again, side to side, it is normal to have a little bit. Back and forwards, it needs to be like pretty much nothing. And this is just how these ones are. Okay, and the next thing I've done, which is already finished, was set the actuator correctly. This is the bit I missed on the other video. I think I already mentioned it. Anyway, so in this case there is a stopper there. I just removed the bolt or this little threaded bar or pin from the old actuator. So the actuator measurements here I already did measure, is exactly the same length, etc, etc. So I could just use the same distance as the other one was. So all I've done is I've cracked the nut loose just a little bit, just until he allowed me to move the center bolt, screw, whatever. Then I just took it off from the old one, put it back in here until the nut touched obviously the end in there, tidy up, job done. As for this, the body, etc, everything is similar to the old one, except this last part is slightly shorter, this one, and it's shorter, not just the end here, but also the hole is in a different place. So if I measure this here, just to show you from where he touched the locking nut, if you look in there, up to the end is about 6 centimeters, okay, 60 millimeters. And if you look, the center of the hole is somewhere between 5 and 5.5, somewhere around there. So if I show you now the old one, oh dear me, it's gonna be a little bit difficult, but it's a little bit bent in there. But okay, so the total distance, as you can see in there, is about 65. And if you look at the center of the hole, is about 5. Don't know if you can see, it's about 5 centimeters. Don't know how good it comes on the camera. Anyway, there is a difference, so therefore I had to adjust this different. And actually you can see that the distance between the locking nut and the rubber, let me just close the phone like this. You see the distance here is about this screwdriver, just about, you can see in there. Look at the distance on that one. See? So the difference is the fact that the other shaft is slightly shorter, so I had to pull it a little bit backwards to obviously to compensate. Anyway, I measured it, it's spot on. So next step is start to assemble everything. I'm not going to take you too much into detail, but I'm going to use some little bit of oil to put on the ring. So we're going to start, I usually start from this side. I don't ask me why, just I usually do. So we're going to make sure we're going to put this back on. Then we have the little hole in there that's going to go on our pin in there. Okay. What else? Yeah, so we need to make sure that in there sits okay over there, which is where it's going to move our vanes back and forwards. And then we'll put the other side. Okay, so this side is now done, all tied up. There's only one difference on this shaft here, because on the other one is a kind of a sort of a ball joint, kind of. This one actually requires a circlip, which I will have on my toolbox, which I will put one, but everything is in place, so sounding good. So all we're going to do now is put the other bit. Interesting, just now here that I was to align the housing, I've realized that there is an arrow here that is actually, if you look at it, is actually centered with that. So I could have used this arrow as my alignment. Interesting, you know, quite interesting. So let's kind of tie this up, and it's nearly done. I think it's important to mention this. When you tie these bolts, don't just tie one bolt like all the way and then go on the next. Don't do like that. Or at least I don't do it like that. I do like, as soon as I feel a little bit of pressure, I'll give like a turn, then I go on the next one, and I try to tie it down all around at the same time. If you tie only, if you tie one side only, what it's going to do is you're going to tilt the housing, and you can obviously, when you tilt the housing, the gap in there between the housing and the blades is extremely small. So last thing you want is tie the housing is going to tilt, and you're going to push the shaft, and you can bend the shaft and leave it unbalanced. So be very careful. Same applies to the other side, although the other side usually sits quite well. This one is slightly different because of the rubber seal, but even on the other side, make sure you don't tie like one screw all the way down or one bolt all the way down, whatever. I always do it like this, like a little bit at a time, and I go all the way around until I have a even pressure all around. So I just thought it would worth to mention this. Okay, and I just want to show you quick this. I don't know if it's going to come out good on camera, but can you see? It's not going to come out any good on camera. So you remember earlier when I showed you the banjo bolt? Let me see if I can show you this here now. Somehow this is completely clogged up. Actually, I'm gonna have to find a way to take a picture or something like that. Just put it on screen to show you how bad it is. Okay, and it is ready to be delivered. So I blocked up all this stuff so no rubbish gets in there. Everything's back on. I've cleaned obviously the cooling pipes. Everything's clean. This pipe is here because this pipe needs to be replaced because it's completely gone. It's going to need a new one. And obviously also to hold this gasket. But other than that, the turbo is ready to go. And that's it really for this video. I really hope I haven't missed anything this time. Please guys, let me know. Gonna ring the guy to pick it up because I know he's really desperate for it. So that's it for this video, guys. Also check the other video in the description below where I actually took you much more in detail how to do this. Was a different turbo though, was not on the turbo from a Hyundai. I can't even remember where that turbo came from, but anyway, I took you much more into detail. Here I think I've skipped it a little bit, but I think the main points are here on the video. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope there's some information here you can find useful. If you do have any questions, any comments, put them below, and like always, thanks for watching.